Do we need to be recording this?
Yeah, that's good. I'm recording over here.
Oh, okay.
All right, start over.
Cut it out.
So I'm driving down County Route 64 towards Five Guys, basically, and there's a car on the left side of me with its hazards on, and it's just sitting there. So, of course, it kind of draws my attention because
And you're dashing?
Lean in and chew a little louder, dummy.
Everyone loves that.
Jesus.
So, of course,
a wiener over there.
it draws my attention to the side,
He just inhaled that fucking thing, too.
and as my attention comes forward, I realize why their hazards are on. There's a dead deer within 100 feet of me in the lane, laying in the lane. So I jerk my wheel to the left to try and evade it and look into my mirror at the same time. There's a car in the lane, so I have to jerk back into the lane with no time to stop.
And he brought venison tonight.
I wish. I must have like preloaded the suspension or something so it lifted off the ground, because my car only sits like 3 or 4 inches off the ground. I hit that bitch like a jump.
The deer?
A dead deer laying on the road. Hit it like a jump. My head slammed off the ceiling of the car. So immediately I pull over thinking, oh my God, I've got PLPD on my car. If I hit something, I'm up Shit's Creek. I pulled over. It didn't even bump the plastic or break the plastic. No marks in the dust or anything.
PLPD.
I don't know what it's, I have no comp or collision.
Oh.
They might not call it that in New York. That's what they call it.
That was code word for drugs.
I was
PLPD,
confused there.
I'm glad you
protect this ride. I don't know.
We were 0 for 3 on knowing what you're talking about there.
I'm glad someone asked. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be asking a dumb question.
I know somebody who hit a dead deer and totaled their car.
I thought that was going to be me, yeah.
I did that once. I was a passenger with Andy up in Buffalo.
Yeah.
My buddy that lived here, we went to college together. So we were coming home from college. We were on the highway, so we were doing like 70. And we were approaching an 18-wheeler, and all of a sudden the 18-wheeler swerved over into the shoulder. And we realized way too late he was giving us room to get over into his lane. And next thing you know, exact same thing, dead deer lane in the middle of the lane.
Bastard was so inconsiderate. Go die off the street like a nice person.
We hit that thing like a speed bump at 70.
Dude, that's how my boss, it was like year-end closing, so it was like first week of January. It was like 1:30 in the morning. She lived in Hornell, driving back. Next morning, she like comes in. She's like, or she texted me that night, but she came in next morning. She's like, guys, totaled my car. We're like, what did you do? I'm like, hit a dead deer. Just
they move so fast.
Right, right in the middle of 86. And of course, she's like, I couldn't see because it was right around the, like where you actually, where 390 and 86 split.
Yep.
So she came around the corner. It was right at the top of the hill. Just caught her.
I've had bad luck when buying new cars. I had a PT Loser one time.
Shit magnet.
No, well,
did it have the fake wood panel doors on it?
no, did not have fake wood, but I can tell you some. We're not going to put this in the podcast now, but I can tell you some chick stories for it. Yeah, I was at Elmira Country Club Lane. I was a member up there. My cousin Jay's like, just stay and have a couple of drinks. And I'm like, all right. So, of course, I stay and have like 2 or 3 beers, leave. I get down by the driving range on the point. Deer jumps off the bank like into my hood.
Thought it was a,
So here I am.
tree.
Here I am in nice golf clothes. The cop shows up and doesn't want to shoot the deer because he's got to do paperwork and stuff. And he discharged his weapon. So guess who had to kill the deer with the cop's knife? He's a big pussy.
Rear naked chokehold.
Yeah, we fucking picked it up.
I just got in the car and run its head over a couple times.
God damn it. So I think at that point I'd made like 3 payments on the car. And now I got like, it was all fucked up.
Wait, you financed a PT Cruiser?
Was that quicker than the last one?
No. The last one was 1 payment. She ran a red light. Well, yellow light.
So I'm kind of with Taylor on this. The PT Cruiser wasn't like a family hand-me-down. You purposely went out and purchased a PT Cruiser?
For the record, this will be on the podcast. I wasn't like, hey, I want a PT Cruiser, all right? I bought a used Audi that turned out to be a lemon. It was kind of in a pinch. I didn't have a ton of money at the time. I was still in college.
Okay.
I didn't have a lot of choices.
I'd have bought a bike for a PT Cruiser.
Listen, it did actually travel well because I used to take the back seats out. So it's just, I'm like, no one's going to ride with me. So it just, dude, clubs, everything, dude. I traveled fucking like a champ. Well, I mean,
You're never going to sell me.
I don't want to.
You could fit a mattress back there.
Probably one of the worst cars I've ever owned.
Who uses those?
A mattress.
That's what the futon's for.
I mean, that's kind of got a mattress on it.
Hashtag bachelor pad.
Is your
I'm just kidding.
is
I
your
have a
bed
mattress. I have a mattress.
Is your mattress on a bed frame though?
Yeah, actually. Yep.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you, Amazon.
That's over high class right there. Yeah, go right to the floor.
All right. We're at episode 49, boys. We wanted to save all this for this week, Super Bowl. So we'll get our thoughts on that. Before we get started, go check us out on 3starrecruits.com. Go check us out on YouTube. That means if you're listening to this, go to YouTube and subscribe. It's free. It's one free thing in life you can have, even though Econ 101 will tell you otherwise.
Assuming you bought the $1,200 iPhone.
What do you
Pay
mean?
your $40 internet bill and
Oh,
I wouldn't say the Apple Podcast is free.
no, I'm talking about YouTube subscribing.
Oh, all right.
go to a public library. It's free. You can watch us there.
Yeah. Either way, go show us some love. We would appreciate it.
Turn the speakers way up.
So we have an addition to the podcast tonight. We've talked about this 100 times, and there it is in all its glory.
It exists.
The cactus. And he watered it.
It looks alive.
Responsibility.
He watered it when he got here.
I was say, did you put snow on it from outside? You just put some snow on top?
Yeah. So there it is. Is this its new home?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love it to be.
All right. We got some ferns over there, too, from the Survivor podcast we used to do. You ever watch Survivor?
Which season? 1 through 32?
Yeah. Are you Survivor?
No,
Oh.
I just know it's been on forever and I've never watched it.
I never was either, and I got into it. I ended up doing a podcast with Allie and her sister. All right, let's talk about the Super Bowl, boys. What are your thoughts? Did it go when you wanted to? Oh, wager. Adam won the wager.
My boy TB.
Oh, the running football
Yep.
one. Gotcha.
So Adam won that, so he only gets 20 because they never put it in his 20.
He gets 40.
I get 40.
Oh,
That's all right. It's coming back to me eventually.
probably. You gonna lay down the first golf bet tonight while there's 4 inches of snow on the ground?
Sounds interesting. What do you mean? I got the birdie balls in the car. We could set up a course right now.
I'm good. I'm good. I got some of these the golf balls are like almost, what do they call them? Almost
Flight reduced
almost
ones.
real or whatever they call
They
them.
go like 80% of the distance, though. The birdie balls are great. You can
Yeah.
hit like a 5-iron, they go like 40 or 50 yards. And it feels, you could not tell the difference if you closed your eyes.
Contact us, Birdie Ball, for a sponsorship. All right. Super Bowl. Now that Adam's got his money, he took the Bucks +3. What are your thoughts? I'm assuming you guys all watched the game.
Yeah.
What time was it on? I missed it.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I didn't really care which way it went. It was kind of boring. I was hoping for a competitive
Seems somewhat
game.
predictable, I feel. Like everyone wanted Mahomes to put up a great performance, but it just felt like that was what was supposed to happen. A Tom Brady performance the whole way through. Unless you disagree.
I don't agree with that
Okay. Why?
because I think it was billed as the GOAT against the next one, and it was supposed to be a high-scoring competitive game.
Heard a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, the streaker made it to the end zone before Patrick Mahomes.
So
He was kind of down, right?
I don't know if this is true. Have you seen the rumor regarding the streaker?
I know you're going with this. Yeah, I don't know if it's true either.
I don't think it could be possibly true.
Let's talk about it. Because
I don't know
get
because
it.
books take this bet.
Yeah,
But
there were a couple books. That did take the bet.
MyBookie.com, and then there was another one that did have
but
the
if
book.
you interfere with that bet, doesn't that somehow...
It's all online.
That would, yeah. I don't,
so
so the bet. So for anyone listening that doesn't know, so a guy did run onto the field. He was wearing like a pink leotard or some shit and pulled his pants down. I think technically they're calling him a streaker.
he was sponsoring a porn website.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
But apparently he wagered $50,000 at plus 750 on yes, there would be a streaker during the game. Which, if this scenario is true, then it's kind of genius by him.
It is.
So he
Sets a bad precedence for the future.
placed that huge bet, went out, did the streaking himself. Apparently he had to pay a $1,000 bond to get out of jail, and then still netted whatever it was, like $374,000
Yeah.
on the bet. If that's true, the guy's a genius. But I think there's enough, I don't know, question about it as to whether it actually happened.
There's a lot of question about it, but there was a couple books that I know of had it on the.
Somebody confirmed, there was like 3 online books that did take that back.
So,
Oh, really?
Apparently, I don't know if you watched McAfee today. They talked about it after the show and just on the YouTube channel. Apparently, that bet is actually illegal. Books can, like a bookie can take it if they want it, but actual like sports books like FanDuel, DraftKings, Barstool, I assume like MyBookie, it's actually illegal for them to take a bet on that.
Isn't mybookie.au like international?
I don't know.
Is it because they're betting on an illegal activity?
Yes, it's an illegal activity. So therefore, they're not supposed to take that bet. And second, if they know this kid put the bet down and then is the one that actually did it, you think he's getting his money?
Probably not. It'd be tough to prove. I mean, you have to prove it somehow.
If you did, but you'd also have to show in writing somewhere where it says you can't be the person that does it. To me, placing that bet's a contract.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if it doesn't say
Isn't
you
it
can't be the one that does it,
or if somebody puts the bet in for him and he gives him a cut.
right?
And
Isn't it illegal to profit off crime? Don't they take any revenue you make from crime in America? Isn't that just like a subsection of all law that you cannot profit from crime? Meaning that if he commits the crime, he can't collect the bet.
I don't know.
So
We're diving way.
I guess we're down a rabbit hole,
Yeah.
but that's
but
okay.
and another theory is obviously everything's going on. Somebody took a picture with the kid at the bar on Monday.
Yeah.
Right. So they're wondering if, was he still like drunk? Did he get drunk that day? And then they were like, "Oh, you're the streaker," and he just like made the story up that he put the bet down, right? Because no one said like for sure he made the bet. It was just this kid who posted the picture saying that the streaker put 50 grand on it. Yeah. Like no one has any clue, right?
The picture.
He still looks like, I don't know.
The picture I saw, the kid with him is from Corning.
Does Adam have it saved as his wallpaper?
So,
oh, really?
So
Yeah.
I looked at that and I was like, I wonder if that's
That's the picture I saw.
I don't want to say his name, but somebody shared a Facebook post by him with his name, and I believe that's.
So I looked because I saw someone else post it and it said, "Look who I took a picture with," but it wasn't this kid's name. So that's why I don't know. But I thought as soon as I saw it, I thought it looked like somebody not very well.
So the guy in the red shirt is somebody you know?
I don't personally know him. He's a few years older than me, and
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Can you confirm if this guy now lives in Tampa?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was on. It's Bob Henry has it on his Instagram if you want to look at it.
But yeah, so it's interesting if that truly is what it is.
I agree though. It should be illegal or is illegal. But what do you do if it's international waters? Like I got a friend who hit a slot machine on international waters on a cruise on their way back in, but they were still in international waters. 0 taxes taken out of it.
And the kid who paid this kid to do this or gave him the money for the bet, probably whatever it was, is like a Russian YouTube star that's been known. His girlfriend actually is the one that streaked at the one of the European soccer, the final, the premier final.
I thought he had a prank YouTube account or something where they did pranks. I didn't realize it was a porn account.
Well, he's got a porn site that he's starting.
A man of many talents, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So his girlfriend.
No one said he's gonna be in the movies.
So his girlfriend's the one that streaked at the Premier League final.
I remember that,
2 years ago. So, and even when he put a picture on Twitter of the kid on the field running, and it said, "We did it." So,
what a milestone!
It's funny too because in today's day and age, everyone's got a phone, right? So within minutes of this happening, there's 20 different videos on Twitter of this kid running to the end zone and getting just annihilated. But if on TV, they don't put the camera on him because they don't want to give him attention.
Right.
It's still the ultimate marketing move.
Yeah. But they don't want to put the camera on him. But it's like, okay, well, 2 minutes from now, I'm going to see the whole video from 20 different angles. And we did.
My favorite is watching them. So I've been at a Bills game and it was a preseason game, but they literally jumped from the one end zone and one of the kids made it all the way to the other end zone.
Oh, really?
Just booked it. It was pretty funny. And of course, everyone's cheering, right? They're like, go, go. Like, just get to the end zone.
I was at the Bills game that a dildo made it to the end zone. And the official just turned around and kicked it.
Yeah,
know?
so it's interesting, but I don't know. But getting back to the game, I guess.
Yeah. As far as the game goes, it wasn't an exciting game to watch. It was almost like the national championship football game wasn't what it was built up to be. I think, in my opinion, Mahomes is very hurt, his foot or whatever.
Surgery tomorrow.
Yeah. So to me, he's far more injured than we know of because he didn't look healthy. And the injury and reshuffling of their offensive line had a huge impact on that game because that offensive line was horrible. I don't have the number in front of me, but they said that
Talking about his rushing.
Mahomes had the most QB pressures against him in Super Bowl history.
29 of 56.
Yeah.
So
And he ran for next gen stats said he run
497 yards he ran for
behind the line of scrimmage.
behind the line of
Yeah.
scrimmage through the whole night.
yeah.
Just getting away from
Scrambling.
guys.
Yeah. I mean, there were – it seemed like every other play, as soon as the ball was in Mahomes' hand, there were two guys already past the offensive line. And it was similar to the Trevor Lawrence situation in the
Right.
game they lost. Like, it doesn't matter who you put at quarterback. You're not going to win. You can't win like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I thought, and I kind of mentioned it when I made my pick of the Bucs last week. I think if you give Brady 2 shots at a team within 10 weeks, however long it was, and I think putting a game plan together is much easier because KC kind of pulled out everything in that first quarter in the first matchup, right?
Yeah.
Hill put up 200 yards or whatever it was. So I feel like they showed a lot of what they could do, and it made it much easier for Tampa to try to figure out how to
read
game
what's
plan.
coming next, yeah.
Game plan for it. Obviously, their defensive line, and obviously part of it is because of the offensive line shuffling, but their defensive line dominated, which we talked about when the Bills played them. The Bills got no pressure on KC.
Correct.
That's all you had to do to them was put pressure on and kind of make Mahomes force him to do something because you let him kind of sit back there and he'll pick you apart.
So I've actually rewatched like 2 more. I went back and watched like another 2 quarters of this, the first 2 quarters. The offensive line is clearly an issue. I mean, they're all technically NFL caliber offensive linemen, but I think there's a chemistry issue there and meshing with, shuffling down the line. But I went back and watched the first 2 quarters, and they did what the Bills didn't do, which we talked about for the Bills game. They put somebody on Kelsey as soon as he left the line. They didn't play a zone. I mean, whatever defense they were in, they played 2 high safeties to take away the deep ball with Hill. Somebody stuck to Kelsey. Davis was within like a foot of Kelsey. Like it's almost like he didn't care who was running by him, and he wasn't like passing off like he's yours now. He just went to Kelsey and was there, and I think it was a problem.
That's interesting because I thought Kelsey was the only effective offensive weapon.
Yeah, he still put up
that showed up.
140
He
yards.
still
or whatever
did, but he was. I mean, from the first, I went back and watched it. Like Davis would almost like ignore people running by him just to kind of make sure he knew where Kelsey was.
Yeah.
Even if like, you know what I mean, you feel like you're kind of helping. And I felt like the Bills didn't do that.
Right.
And then they're trying to pass off like they normally would when someone goes by them in the zone, and they just, I don't know if it was poor communication or just what, but I thought that they did the very good job. I think today's Tuesday? I think since the Super Bowl's been over, I'm not sure enough credit has been given to that Tampa Bay defense. I thought they did a very good job in that game. A very good job all around.
Yeah.
Stopping the run. They put pressure on Mahomes' offensive line, not being 100% or not. They did that job. I read today, this is the second Super Bowl in a row Brady's had a defense not give up a touchdown. And he's won.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about
They only
that.
gave up 3 points to the Rams. So my next question for you guys in this is, like you said, you give Brady a team within like a few weeks and they make a plan. I thought about this after the game and even during the game. Do you think it was so much, because we've talked about how it's that first game, if you play someone twice, it doesn't really matter. You're probably not going to get the same results. Guys are going to make adjustments. They don't know if the losing team makes an adjustment, the other team's going to say, well, they're going to make an adjustment to this. It's a chess match. Do you think Tampa went back and watched that first game as much as they went back and just watched the Bills game and what Kansas City was doing, and have now put a blueprint out there on how to stop Kansas City.
I think that was watch the Bills game, watch I don't even know Browns game, because Browns obviously played them well.
Yep.
Also, you definitely got to look at. I mean, Todd Bowles is smart enough to know what he needs to do, and obviously those. And I don't know if anybody was missing in that first matchup, because obviously,
I don't know.
Des White is unbelievable, just fast. He is my second star of the week. 12 tackles, which is crazy.
Yep.
And I thought he probably should have been MVP. I think it's going to be very hard for them not to give it to like a quarterback, receiver, running back ever.
Yeah.
Again, it's very rare. It is, but I thought he was probably the MVP of that game.
I agree. I didn't think Brady deserved the MVP. I didn't think he played bad, but I thought someone like Gronk almost deserved it, even though Brady's throwing the ball. But Gronk comes out, he's huge impact. Or even there was two different guys in that defense that probably could have won that MVP.
Oh yeah,
Davis, White. And I thought the defense played outstanding. They did a
you
very
probably could
good
have
job.
just given it to the entire defense.
Yeah.
Said here's
Yeah.
the MVP.
Defense played outstanding. It really did. I think we got to give the story, of course, was Brady, 7 Super Bowls. Man, defense. I think they've laid a blueprint moving forward for Kansas City that if they don't make adjustments or kind of come out in the same scheme, the 2 high safeties and a linebacker he's got one job. It's to take away that tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the Andy Reid Mahomes combo, you can probably put as much faith in them as anybody to evolve.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So obviously
it'd be interesting to follow.
The big talk now is, well, there's 2, I guess. Will Brady win another one before he's done? He's got 2 more. Well, he's got 2 years on his contract. Who knows if he's going to play more than that? But
So he wants to play until he's 45.
right, which is 2 more
2 more
seasons.
years, yeah.
2 seasons.
He's only got one. He only signed a 2 year.
Oh, 2 year
deal.
deal. I couldn't remember if it was 2 or 3. So do you guys think he wins another one before he retires? I mean, 7 is unbelievable as it is. So he's my first star as well. Just the overall. I mean, to get 7 Super Bowls is crazy. He has more than any franchise.
So
And
probably not next year, but the year after, because isn't it 15, 17, 19, 21? He wins every other year, something to that extent.
That's true, but I think next year's is got to be his year to do it again.
Yeah.
And I think I read something. I don't know where I heard it. Brady has more Super Bowls than 18 franchises combined.
Yep. I thought it
is-
was all 30. No, I thought I saw a different stat than that, but you're probably right, yeah.
Yeah, because Pittsburgh and San Fran have 6. Dallas has 4, so.
If you go back to what we talked about back November when they were losing, and they struggled in the month of November, we discussed you can't force a quarterback into your system. You got to develop a system around your quarterback. And I haven't watched a ton of Bucs football this year. I felt like I saw a lot of the old Brady Sunday night. A lot of like short passes, quick screen passes to the outside that he used to throw. Just kind of move the ball up the field. And maybe did they make a change back in like late November, early December to put some different plays in? Just throwing the deep ball isn't working.
I think I said early in the season that I think of all the teams that were legitimate contenders, Tampa was one that most missed having a preseason and a training camp.
Yeah.
You're bringing in a new quarterback to a new team. You're bringing in Gronk, who's supposed to be a huge weapon, a new guy. You're bringing all these new pieces in.
AB halfway through the year or whatever it was.
I mean, out of all the teams early in the year, they probably most needed a preseason, and it took them, 4 or 5 weeks to kind of start to figure it out. And I don't think that's too much of a surprise.
To answer your question, I don't think he does. I don't know. My gut tells me no. I feel like that's a really tough division.
Oh, yeah, it's tough division. NFC is tough.
We don't know who's going to shuffle in quarterback wise. You still got that guy Aaron Rodgers over in Green Bay.
Yeah. I mean, they've obviously I think Mike Evans has already come out and said, hey, I'll take a pay cut to stay here.
Yeah.
But I think there was somebody, McAfee was talking about today, someone on the Chiefs, Jones. He said that last year after they won. He said, I'll take a pay cut. And then when they offered him like a pay cut, he was going to hold out. Because he's like, I deserve more. So, I mean, guys say it right away, but it'll be interesting because I think Evans is a free agent.
Could be, yeah.
So, so he's obviously due some money and probably worth a lot more than whatever they could offer him.
Yeah.
Fournette's going to be gone, I assume. He's going to get offered a decent contract. So
Yeah.
they won't have him. Obviously, Ronald Jones played well until he got hurt
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks ago. But
The other conversation after the game was, even during the game, was the officials.
Oh.
Was, a lot of ticky-tack. Now, not a fan of either teams, right? I feel like I'm a neutral party here watching this game. But there was absolutely zero part of me watching those flags being thrown that I felt bad for Kansas City, because I feel like people have some amnesia. Because 2 weeks ago, when they played the Bills, if you weren't paying attention to the game close enough, they made a point to point out that they took Matthew, a referee took Matthew to the sidelines, to the defensive coordinator, and said, basically told him you need to knock it off. They're notorious for a lot of grabbing off the line, reaching out, shoulder pads, keeping their arms around the hips. And it might be ticky-tacky, but it is the rules.
Yeah.
And then when you start throwing flags and they got pissed, I'm like, well, this is the shit you've been doing all year. So I got thinking about it. Do you remember Tim Donaghy? Was it Donaghy?
Yeah.
The NBA ref? Did you ever see the interview he did with Big Cat about the gambling? He basically said, and I don't know if it's true, it just makes me wonder with the NFL officials. He said we would have meetings prior to games. It's like we would have these meetings. And we'd go in these meetings and I don't know who they met with, all the officials and whoever, and they basically say, all right, well, listen, last game, for example, Allen Iverson was pissed off because they played this team, they were doing this all the time, right? So then after the Bills game, after we've had this conversation is now out there, how do you know they're not walking in an official meeting and saying, listen, guys.
Oh, they certainly, right?
Kansas City's very handsy. You got to keep an eye on it tonight. They just,
Yeah, and so I don't know a lot of Chiefs fans, but the ones I saw, and obviously on Twitter and stuff, they're complaining. They're like, oh, you didn't call that during the Bills game. It's correct. They weren't calling it, but the rule is the rule. Right. And the refs in the Super Bowl are supposed to be, right, they're the ones that have been highest rated all year.
Right.
That's why they're reffing that game. So you can't just keep doing it. And even I don't know who held Breland, I'm going to say, held Evans on one play, got called. And then they go to show, because I cannot stand Romo.
Was this the interception?
It might have been the interception that got called back, maybe. Evans, there was a hold on Evans. He pulled him to the ground. And then they go to show the other side, and they're like, oh, look how good this coverage is. And the guy went to grab the Tampa receiver and missed him. But you could see him try to reach for him and pull.
Yeah.
But he just missed him. But it's so he was trying to grab as well. I mean, you can't just keep doing it and getting away with it. Sooner or later, it's going to get called. And it just so happened it was obviously the biggest game of the year.
I'd like to go back and watch the Bills game and just from a different view, camera view, the amount of times that Josh rolled out. I mean, how many times do we watch any NFL game this year? Quarterback rolls out, and it's oh, there's nothing there. And he scrambles and throws away, and you see him pointing. Flag goes out, and it's his entire timing of the route was off because the guy got held. Therefore, the entire play broke down without us knowing it. It makes me want to go back and rewatch that game. How many times did that happen playing Kansas City where, the timing of that entire play was off because dude's got hold of shoulder pads coming off the line.
Yeah.
And then it just, like you said, it had to be called at some point, and it just happened to be the Super Bowl. I had no problem with it all, including, who was the one down the side? Was it Godwin? They got tripped up and they said, oh, it wasn't catchable.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I don't remember.
If you go back and watch that full play, before he actually trips him up, he catches him 3 steps before that. He kicks his leg or something, makes him stumble. Then he hits him again. He falls over. And they're like, well, it wasn't catchable. Yeah, it was. If you don't knock him on his ass halfway down the field.
Same thing. At the end of the first half, they called that flag, and they were like, well, that ball wasn't catchable, and I forget what they called. But he clearly hit him 10 yards off the line and knocked him off his route. It's that's illegal contact. You can't do that.
Whether it's contact or interference, it's not legal. Yeah. It makes me wonder if how would you like to be a fly on that wall at an officiating meeting? All right, guys, remember they played out Buffalo 2 weeks ago. We had this issue where they were really grabbing. Teams complained about it. Buffalo complained about it. Tampa Bay's brought it to our attention that it's an issue. Is it a focal point now?
Yeah, right. Those I don't know if they do or not. It'd be interesting to know, but I'm guessing those refs kind of watch tape. What are we looking for?
Right.
Yeah, I would assume they do.
Before we get too far, you asked, I think you posed the question of if Evans was a free agent, correct? He signed a 5-year contract in 2018, but there's news today that he took a pay cut to help cap relief.
Already or is going to?
It says That I'm not sure of. It says he's willing to do some
Yeah, he's
work.
willing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's still hammered right now, so I don't think he knows what he's doing.
I don't blame him.
And I guess another question, for you guys. I will say in the next 4 years, how many Super Bowls does Mahomes get back to?
I don't know. I think it really depends on.
The extent of his injuries, for one thing.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think-
just turf toe, so he'll be back.
Okay.
But
I guess my question would be like, are you always going to be able to put an offensive line in front of him?
right. I mean, that's their biggest weakness. So that's where they got to go. I don't know what free agents they have. We talked about obviously they might have a window of another 2 seasons until they've got to start paying guys, Hill and Kelsey again, and those guys.
Right.
They're due contracts in 2 more seasons. So
Well, Holmes' contract hasn't kicked in yet, has it?
next year.
This big one, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me to see him in 2 of the next 4 Super Bowls.
Right. I think once we hit that 4 year, I think that's where we're going to start to see a lot of differences because of how big his contract is and who they're going to be able to pay.
I think
Depending on what salary cap
Yeah,
is and everything. But
yeah.
I think teams are going to start building to beat them. I think we're already seeing it in Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bills and the Chiefs in the championship game again next year. So
Right.
just
Right.
a
Oh, yeah,
matter of
exactly.
who comes out on top in that game.
Saw a lot of mumbling about how great he still got out of the pocket and threw passes, which some of those were, I couldn't believe he even got him off.
Yeah, that's one thing. Saw a couple of people online saying that, and then people arguing, well, it wasn't a completion. Well, some of it was also his receivers not catching the ball at times.
They dropped the ball.
There were some. The one where he rolled out to the right and was practically horizontal when he threw the ball, like the athleticism that it takes to make some of the throws he does are just incredible. There was the one where he rolled left and then kind of spun and just chucked it up, and the guy just dropped it in the back. I mean, he was out of bounds, but just dropped it in the back end of the end zone. The athletic ability to be able to pull those throws off is just super. That's why I enjoy watching him.
There was a couple, though, like the Hill throw, I think was in the first quarter, that he rolled out. Didn't look like he had anything, and it got to Hill. That probably won the books as a drop, but the ball was tipped just before it got to Hill. Hit him in the face mask, but the ball was tipped. And I think the same thing on the one you're talking about when he was basically laid out throwing the ball.
I think White it went right through White's hands.
Went right through his. I mean,
hit that one might have hit Hill too. I don't remember who was in the end zone at that point.
at that speed, real time, you can say what you want. I don't care how good you are, but when you see a ball coming in that quick and someone tips it or gets a hand just in that, that's just enough to throw off the human eye.
That's the only thing. Those are obviously unbelievable plays. The only thing I hate is when Allen does it, it's a terrible play. You don't do it. But when Mahomes does it, it's okay.
It's a receiver's fault.
Right. So that's the only thing I don't like. I don't like is they both make. I'm not discrediting what Mahomes did, but if any of those get picked, they're like, oh, but he made a good play to do it. But Allen does it, and it's a rookie mistake.
Yeah, he flashes back to his, beginning days. Speaking of Mahomes, and the Chiefs have been extremely successful throughout this year. I want to know what you guys think about, one, his fiance, his brother, and now his mother.
3 of the worst people.
You mean catching the spotlight way too much, or
just everything they've done? Probably.
He better be sitting in the living room with them right now, or at some point since the Super Bowl, and sitting them all down and be like, all 3 of you need to shut up and knock it off. His mother tweeted Giselle.
Right. I mean, that's.
Did you see that?
No, I pay zero attention to that shit. I really don't care.
I
about
couldn't
it.
believe. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, if I'm Mahomes, I'm like, okay, this doesn't. You guys got to knock it off. Like, that's not good for me down the road, or brand wise. Like, people aren't going to want to. They might want to deal with me, but they're like, yeah, we don't want to deal with everything that comes with him.
Yeah, that's.
Your mother shouldn't tweet Brady's wife and be like, well, you lost because the refs cheated. Like, how trashy can that sound?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. I don't pay attention to that. I don't know. I didn't see most of that. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in now with social media. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the same as LeVar Ball and that whole thing. And we could probably sit here and come up with 20 examples of it. It's just the world that we're in now.
If I'm him, though, I'm like, hey, the 3 of you need to stop. Like, do your TikToks, do your bullshit, but When just because things don't go our way, because they have gone our way a lot, like that doesn't give you the okay to like act like a child on social media.
I didn't read too much into the Brittany stuff. His fiance, wasn't she mad because ESPN posted a picture of him with his head down after the game after he lost?
Just
It's
standing.
well,
there was two pictures of him just standing there.
Yeah, it's like he is probably one of the faces of the NFL. Like, there's gonna be a picture of him.
She tweeted ESPN.
Yeah,
Said,
look,
you all are trash cans with trash can emojis. There's no caption on it. It's just there was two separate tweets with just a picture of Mahomes. That's it. And they're like, you're picking on him.
Yeah, it's like he's the face of. Do you want not want? Don't go taking his $500 million he's going to get over the next 10
Stop riding
years.
his coattails to build your own brand. I showed Allie a video the other day. She posted this video on Instagram. It popped up on my feed. She's like a fitness trainer. She's got zero muscle definition, which pisses me off. But that, like you said, it's the world we live in today. Everyone's an Instagram model and a fitness trainer. And she's like, today's curls, and she's doing these curls. She starts doing these curls. I'm like, she's not even doing them right. She's going to tear her labrum right out of her fucking shoulder.
Well, she can't do much. She's pregnant.
She had a band on a squat rack standing off the side. Instead of like curling and contracting the muscle, she's curling it and like doing this.
Pulling it right across her body.
Yes.
Does it sound like he follows her?
No, this shit just pops up like just pops up all or Allie shows it to me. I don't know, don't she follows her.
Since we're in that alley, I had to take a screenshot today of a conversation between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Did you see that post game? It's really riveting. Patrick Mahomes says, "You're a legend, man. Congrats, man." Tom Brady says, "You're a stud, bro." And ESPN had to make a post to that. So the top comment of the week goes to Dylan something. He says, "Wow, what an insightful conversation between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Thank God we had ESPN on the case, or we might have missed out on some of the most legendary words spoken from athlete to athlete." When you're low on content, I guess that's what gets posted, but
Yeah.
it seems to be the case for them lately.
Yeah, but you gotta expect it, right? This was like Russ said. This is kind of like supposed to be kind of like the handoff, right?
Yeah, that's
Brady to
that's the
Mahomes,
storyline,
like the
yeah.
handoff, and
yeah. No, that is definitely the storyline they went for. And
Doesn't it feel a bit early to be building that narrative?
no, Brady's 43.
No, I don't mean for that part. I mean for obviously the handoff has to happen on his end, but I mean for Patrick Mahomes to be the one to pick it up.
who are you gonna give it to then?
Yeah, no, definitely not too early.
The guy's won a Super Bowl. He's only lost what?
Yeah, I mean, it's a second straight Super Bowl.
2 playoff games.
He's already. I can't remember when you add up whatever it is, Super Bowl champ, league MVP, something or other. He's like the youngest to ever do it, or the only one to ever do it before 25 or whatever.
He's lost less than 5 NFL games total. Am I correct? Somewhere right around there.
And this is his first game he'd ever lost by double digits.
Correct.
So
In his since high school,
so I don't
incredible.
I don't have a problem with
No,
that narrative at all.
I don't know. I mean, he's probably the best quarterback in the AFC for sure, and probably all of football.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, based on playoff performances, you're not giving it to Deshaun Watson. You're not giving it to Allen.
Right.
I mean, Rodgers is 42 or however old he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. There's no one else. Wilson's early 30s. Other issues with him now, but so there's no one else kind of stepping into that role. So it is what it is, and I think it's the right move for the NFL.
Yeah. Other news today regarding Tom Brady. He wanted to go to the 49ers, and they didn't want him. Apparently, his team reached out to San Fran to go there, and they said no.
Was there reasons why they didn't want him? Too much money, or
They didn't say why.
They just
it can't be too much money because Garoppolo only got
yeah,
$5 or $6 million less.
yeah.
He's from San Fran area, so
yeah. That's why he wanted to go back there. But next question. You got to PA, right?
yes.
Did you get to PA before the game?
No,
Damn it, Russ!
I purposely avoided it.
You should have went with me then.
Okay.
Damn it! So anyway, here's the prop bets that I had. Coin toss, I lost. It was tails. I had the opening kickoff, a touchback, no. Harrison Buckner over 1.5 field goals. Mahomes to throw an interception before Brady. Hill versus Godwin, first one to 10 yards. I had Hill, a sack before a touchdown, and over 1.5 interceptions. You should have went to PA with me. Damn it, Russ. I didn't have a ton on it, but it kept the game entertaining while you're watching it as opposed to. By the way, I saw a video of somebody else who had the not a touchback. The guy was like 4 guys like standing at their TV like screaming. I'm assuming they had a little bit more money than I did. I had like $5 on it. These guys were like screaming at their TV, like balls in the air, and he's like calling the guy names, like every name in the book. And he runs it on. They go nuts. All right, so football season's over. Got anything else for football?
I want to ask you guys about one of the announcers. I've already mentioned him.
Romo didn't shake it enough.
Romo.
Oh Jesus!
No, not
See
even.
that?
Yeah,
Not even that. I don't even care about that.
It doesn't matter how you shake and dance. The last drop always goes on your pants.
That's right.
Everyone knows that.
You're in a rush. He's got to get back to the game.
Don't you shake the gas pump before you pull it out of your car? Everyone does it.
What? So originally, when Romo started as a color guy, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, whenever it was, I kind of enjoyed listening to him and like his insight in the game. But now it's getting way over the top and too much for me, and I cannot stand listening to him. First of all, he's all over Mahomes. No matter what happens, Mahomes is like God, whether it's a terrible play or not. Mahomes is Mahomes.
Yeah.
And there's no one even ever close to him. I just can't stand listening to him anymore. I have trouble.
I mean, I think I've gotten to the point where I just kind of tune it out.
Yeah.
Really. If you want to hear a good Romo story, go ahead.
I was say when I'm watching games, I'm looking through my phone or my iPad, kind of paying attention to the plays.
Yeah.
I really zone out.
Yeah, I never liked any commentator to
Announcers,
begin with. He's better than Joe Buck. Let's be honest there.
Even Joe Buck, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have a huge.
I don't either.
I love Joe Buck for football, baseball. I'm not a fan of him.
There's only really 3 announcers that I can't stand. The 2 clowns from from basketball.
2 clowns?
Yeah.
Dickie V and
Walton.
Walton.
Those guys are
Mushroom.
Those guys are freaking horrible.
Can I guess the third?
You won't guess the third.
Damn it.
But yes, you can guess, but you won't guess the third.
Johnny Miller.
Nah, well, he's kind of out of it now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
You ever hear about the score he shot at Oakmont?
You
I know where you're going in Boston.
yeah, Jack Edwards, the Bruins play-by-play. He's probably the worst.
Is he?
Yeah. And Pierre McGuire. You can throw him in there. So we're up to 4.
Can we throw Johnny Miller in there and make it a good
Sure,
5?
Johnny Miller.
Rounded out for the Hall of Fame of worst commentators.
I mean, you might as well get used to Romo though, because he is not going anywhere.
Right. Oh, yeah. For what? $16 million a year, whatever the hell he got. That's
Might as well be a quarterback at that rate.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
He wasn't even making that much as a quarterback.
And I can't remember there was some weird caveat where he gets to like basically choose how long the contract is or something.
Yeah, it's
Oh, really?
it's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
like an indefinite as long as he wants to be there.
Well, he's definitely
something.
not going to play pro golf because he's going to run out of money paying somebody to sign an incorrect scorecard so he can get stage 2 at Q school. Story for another day.
All right.
I'm not going to touch that one. Before we move on from football, did I send you guys the marketplace item that I should have bought but was gone before I got back to it? I did not realize.
Can you hold it up so we can see
You
it?
send us a lot of rant.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not realize that Tom Brady was into baseball at all. He was apparently drafted to the Montreal Expos at
Like
18
eighth
years
round
old.
or something like that.
Yeah,
17th
So this is
either.
a mint card, $8 for his baseball card.
That's probably not worth anything.
Maybe it's not, but it seems like for $8 you should buy that shit. He's the GOAT.
Right.
Football, he is.
If that was going to be worth anything, it already would be.
It's probably $8. Probably
My
top.
thinking was the day after I saw this, someone posted the Rocks football card from like the Canadian Football League, and it sold for $45,000. Just some random card. Like for $8, maybe you hang on to it.
Yeah.
It's not all bent up.
Yeah, but
I
that
get
was
your
still
logic.
football.
I get your logic.
I think with it being a different sport, it like throws it way off.
That makes it even more of a novelty, doesn't it? Did you? I mean, I guess you guys did because you're old.
But he never.
Old, but I didn't realize he was even into baseball.
Right, but he never played for the Expos.
Did The Rock play in the
I don't
NFL?
know. It looks like there's fans behind him with a baseball in his
No,
hand.
no,
So are
no.
you sure he didn't
Right.
play?
So it's probably preseason.
Maybe
yeah.
preseason. That I don't know. That looks
Does
like
he
a
not
fake
look
card.
old? He looks old in this picture. That's why I was confused.
When you sent that,
looks-
I thought it was
Yeah.
fake.
the face looks very old.
But I mean, he is the
Yeah.
Benjamin
Have
Button
you
of
se-
sports. Let's be honest.
I don't know. You've seen his.
He looked fat when he got drafted, and he looks
No.
younger now.
He was not fat when he got drafted.
Like 2000.
He was
like
skinny
a-
fat.
His
He was like
face,
a-
his
face
face
was
was.
fat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His
He was
face
skinny
definitely.
fat. He was like all baby fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought when you sent that, I was like, that looks like a fake card.
So you're saying I'm better
Best-
off with my $8 in my pocket?
Best $8 you never spent.
Yeah.
Okay.
For now.
Until I see it on eBay for $1 million.
By the way, I reached out to Bryce, talked to him about that putter.
Yeah, he Venmoed me back, so he's an honest guy, and I appreciate it. But for like 24 hours, I was like, where the hell did that post go? Did Bryce, of all people, scam me of $44?
So he has the putter. He won it or some. He got it from somewhere. He told that guy. He goes, I was actually surprised. Like people have never heard of him. The guy's and from like California. He specializes in left-handed putters.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, Bryce is going to be ordering another putter from this guy, just different neck.
I didn't ask him about it, but I assume someone just offered him a straight-up price for more than the raffle would have been, and he just sold it outright. I didn't.
I don't know. He didn't.
That would be my guess.
Still had him. I talked to him today. He also has a Circle T Scotty that is not for sale.
I was gonna say I don't think I want to drop a grand on a putter anyway.
It'd probably be more than that.
Yeah,
probably more than that. He was telling me that the tour guy didn't want to give it to him that day, and he's like, "Well, I wanted to roll it this week." They're like, "Oh, you were going to use it?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I was getting ready to go out and play 9 holes. I was going to use it." They're like, "All right, well, you can take it." Well, then he said he had another buddy who played in a few more events. He's like, "Kid had balls. He would go around to like all the tour vans." He's like, he'd come home with like a Scotty.
They're not stingy at all.
A Toulon. They were up at Erie when he was there at the Webb event. They weren't going to give it to him, and he was on staff with Titleist.
That's interesting because I know guys that I went to school with that would go to events and be like, let's say they're an intern at an event or like a PGA Tour event comes to there and they go goof around on the tour buses. They'd come home with Vokey wedges and shit.
Yeah,
just like crazy. They would fit them and let them put shafts in right on the bus and let them goof around and then take stuff with them.
Said his buddy would go home with like 4 or 5 putters at a time. He have like a Toulon, a Scotty, just snagging them up, bringing them home. And he's like, then he just sell them.
Retirement plan right there.
I guess you better hope you make enough tour events.
Put it in Dogecoin, I guess.
All right, well, football's over. I'm sad, so we'll move on from that.
We'll have a lot of news, I think, in the next couple months.
This quarterback shuffling is going to be a shit show because we've got Deshaun Watson who wants to leave, and Houston saying we're not signing him anywhere. We have Wentz, who they say in the next any day now.
Yeah,
we're at this point.
That's what they said. Now he might not be
for
gone
a week or two.
Yeah, so it's
to Russell Wilson today.
Yep, Russell Wilson today. There's a possibility he wants out of Seattle. Teams have reached out to New York for Darnold.
Yeah, Darnold. I think Darnold's probably going to be the hottest commodity, and I think a lot of teams want him because I think they feel like the Jets have wasted him.
Yeah,
not wasted. I guess I'll say wasted. They don't waste guys like Detroit does. But
I saw another thing today about before the Stafford trade, who reached out and inquired. It was like the Redskins or the Washington football team. I can't remember who else. One was the Jets.
That's their name. You don't put it in quotes.
Yeah. It's not a real name. The Jets, and it had like what they offered. Like some people offered like their 19th pick or whatever, the first round pick. Then I got down to the Jets, and it was just like Jets reached out. Conversation didn't go anywhere. They just checked in. Someone's like, so they just call the Lions, be like, hey, what's up? Just checking in. Like there was no conversation about Stafford.
Just letting you know we're still down here in Jersey.
Yeah.
My question is, if a player like Watson wants out of an organization, and you don't grant that, don't you worry that player will become locker room cancer to the organization? It just doesn't seem advantageous to hold someone there against their will because they obviously don't want to be.
Some guys, I would say yes. I feel like Watson's he's got like a different head on his shoulder.
See, I don't know a lot about the guy. But
I feel like if he ends up being there, if they can bring a couple guys in, obviously a big thing for Watson is going to be I don't think they're going to re-sign Will Fuller. I think he'll be gone, but
so losing another wide receiver,
right? So I think he will play out his contract. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I don't think it'll bother him. But yeah, you're going to see some guys that wouldn't even. They'd be like, I'm not playing.
So is there? Maybe you two know this because
contract-wise, we don't know.
Well, is there something with teams, like say he decides I'm not coming back, and it gets to like a certain week in the NFL, doesn't like an insurance policy kick in or something? Am I crazy for thinking I've heard that before?
No, you're not crazy for thinking that. I don't know the NFL's policies very well. The NHL, it's happened where guys don't report, and if they don't report by a certain date,
then they just trade you to Columbus.
You basically you basically suspend them, and then after a certain number of days, you can somehow cut ties with them so that you don't have to pay them. I guess what I'm getting at is if you don't show up, if you don't report and play, if you're told to,
you've breached the contract.
You don't get paid. Yeah.
you've breached the
Yeah,
contract.
Yeah, and I don't know how the NFL works because obviously his contract just kicked in this year, right?
I think
Or
so.
next year. I don't know when it actually kicks in.
That's
He signed it before this past season.
That's the thing with that situation that is kind of the curveball. If you're so adamant that you want out now, you probably had some of those feelings a little bit when you signed that contract. So I don't know why. To me, he should have waited to sign a big deal.
yeah.
I mean, for all
and
he could be a free agent if he wanted to.
right, and obviously we don't know behind the scenes. Like they said, they promised him he would have say in the GM and all that, and obviously that didn't happen. Is what they're saying. I don't know if they said, "Hey, Bill O'Brien's not going to be here," and he was like, "Okay, I'll sign because he's been part of the problem." But now it's like worse. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes, and if anything will ever come out.
If you have leverage in that situation, and you obviously have no idea how your next season is going to go, even if you're a great player, you don't know what your stats will be. Wouldn't it be in your best interest to act on that leverage before you have a crap season or an injury and you lose the opportunity for that money?
He did act on it. He got
I know,
big contract.
But we're saying, why would he do so if he didn't really want to be there? But it seems to me like, get it while it's hot.
This brings up I just sitting here thinking about this. Like, I'm going to take him for an example. You just said, I don't think the contract kicks in until next year.
Yeah, he signed to be silver of the year, so I don't know when.
So whether it does or not, let's say it does. Okay. He's fed up with Houston, doesn't want to report. Houston's agreed to this contract with him going into 2021, 2022 season. Why should somebody else be on the hook for that contract he agreed to with Houston if it doesn't technically kick in yet?
Yeah,
isn't that just I was thinking about them like that's kind of crazy. Like,
but I don't know if because he signed an extension.
Yeah,
so
that's
I don't
why
know
they
if
always refer to him as extensions.
because he was never a free agent.
that's just crazy though to think about.
It might have kicked in this year. I don't know.
Like if a guy like it doesn't kick in, but like it's gonna happen. Like Wentz's doesn't kick in until what next year? Goff, aren't those two like they think they kick in next year?
I don't.
They're
Somewhere
basically
in there.
post-dated
Keep track of them
checks.
all,
They're
but-
worthless at this point, right?
But yeah, they signed that agreement with a team that no longer they play for, but somebody else is on the hook for them. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's still a legally binding document within the NFL. So somehow, however you want to say that. But
So it kicks in not even this year. $15 million. So this probably is his team option off his rookie deal
This coming year.
this coming year. So
Fifth year.
Yeah, $16 million this coming year, and then $40 million for the next 4 years through 2025 season. He'll be a UFA in 2026.
So I mean, I guess you can go somewhere and someone could say, "We want you. Do you want to come here and restructure?" We're going to see a lot of restructuring right now.
Yeah, but no, $40 million in coming years is probably a good deal for Watson.
Yeah. I think the NFL and the Players Association kind of screwed the pooch on the whole. I understand they have a collective bargaining agreement, and they have salary caps and all that garbage. But teams plan longer than 1 year when they're doing things. And for all these teams to they're way over, and there wasn't some concession there would say, hey, let's not even move the salary cap. We'll figure it out or do something for these guys to like help these teams out in the NFL because they're going to make that money back. Whatever they're over in the salary cap or however that works financially, like 2 years down the road, it's not going to. This year's not going to really impact their bottom line. They're going to make that money back. I feel like once people can go to games, teams will probably sell tickets higher than they used to because people are going to pay the money. They're going to go. They're going to go to games. I just feel like a lot of guys are going to get screwed here because they've planned for 2 to 3 years, and then all of a sudden we have a pandemic, and they're like, well, we got to lower the salary cap now because we had a pandemic and didn't make any money. And I get it protects the owners, but it kind of screws everybody else long term. I just think they kind of screwed up there, and there should have been some concession.
Yeah, I think we've talked about. I don't want to get too far because we'll talk about this probably in the coming months. But a lot of these veterans that are going to get cut because of their contract size, I assume most of them will probably only sign a 1 year deal this year because if salary cap goes back up, they'll be able to sign the contract that they were probably worth because they may have to take a pay cut to play this year. If a guy's supposed to go, you might $15 million, but hey, we're only going to sign you for 10.
Right.
This year, I'm only signing a 1 year deal because I know the cap's going to go up again next year, and I can get more money. I can get my worth the following year.
Well, you and I talked about this too on the other podcast. I've seen so many videos after the Bills game. They're like, well, they should cut this guy. They should cut this guy. He's due this much money next year. I'm like, that's not how it's going to work. This is an abnormal year. You're going to have guys come out and say, all right, take a pay cut here. We'll pay you next year. Or, teams that have foundations and had good years like Buffalo, they're not going to start cutting people because, well, they make this much money. See you later. They're going to make evaluations on guys that are valuable to them. Like John Brown, for example, we've talked about. Could you cut John Brown and make a good argument there? Yeah. You have Gabe Davis, who's probably could do what John Brown's doing, and you have 2-3 other receivers. I just don't think 32 NFL teams are going to be like, well, you make the most, we're over the salary cap, keep it moving.
Yeah, this next month, because I think the NFL season kicks in March 18th or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Next month, you're going to see a lot of guys cut that you wouldn't have expected to cut.
I don't think guys are going to just get cut, though. I think guys are going to restructure. I don't think teams that got players that they value is going to be like, well, you make too much money, so see ya. Like, you can't, 32 NFL teams are going to do that. You're going to have really good players sitting on the sidelines, and 31 other teams are going to be like, well, I can't afford this guy now because he wants this. They're going to restructure. Roethlisberger's one of them. Roethlisberger might make $5 million next year. That's it. He's due.
We'll discuss later because I disagree. I think you're going to just see guys cut.
You can't do that.
You can.
Then you're going to lose games.
Well, then that's what they got to deal with. You got to stay under the cap.
So you restructure.
But I don't know if so you're saying if you're playing, you're going to take a half a pay cut. You're making $10 million this year. You're only going to make $5 million this year. You think guys are going to do that when they can go to teams that have the money to pay and can sign them for that much?
Who's going to have the money though?
There's some teams have $80 million in cap space.
The
Colts is one of them. The Colts are a very good team.
They're going to burn their cap space.
But they need a quarterback, and that is it. And they could sign. They have a lot of money open.
Yeah, I think guys are just going to restructure and stay at home. I don't think it's not going to.
Well, then they're not going to get paid if they're going to stay home.
That's fine, dude. Someone's going to take a restructure. It's going to happen every year. Guys do it all the time. Guys that want to stay, like I'm using Ben. If he wants to stay in Pittsburgh, and he does, he's going to make a concession and be like, all right, I'll take less money and stay here. And say, all right, I'm going to restructure. I was on a 1 year. I'm going to sign a 2 year. Pay me this year, and we'll figure it out next year. It's just going to be a big shuffling of pieces. Guys are going to want to keep their core players. Just because they make too much, you can't cut a core player and be like, see ya, pack your bags.
Yeah. Oh.
Financially, that doesn't work down the road for the team, especially if you're losing.
Right.
I mean, if you're in Buffalo, you're going to sell at a stadium, but for some teams, they actually need to win to get people to actually show up because they don't have fan bases to support them. That's just my opinion. Let's move on to golf.
Oh, boy.
Waste management. Good tournament. Congrats to Brooks Koepka. 5 shots back on Sunday.
He just like quietly went about his business.
Yeah.
Wasn't in any conversation until like the back 9, it seemed like.
Dude, and he could have ran away with that because, right, he eagled the third hole. Then he birdied 4 maybe, or he birdied 2 and then eagled 3. He was like 3 under through like 3 or 4 holes. And then he dropped to like 1 under through 9. And then all of a sudden he just kind of...
He went 5 under in the last 5 holes, correct?
I don't remember what it was, but yeah, he quietly did it after he probably could have won that by 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like guys didn't play well either, which helped him.
So there were a lot of guys that struggled Sunday, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed in Jordan. I was so excited to watch that triumph finally. When someone's struggling like that and they say that they found something, you almost want to live vicariously through them. Like, wow, how great it is to see that. And then to see, when I checked, he was at +2 or +3 on Sunday. On the day, obviously. So he was only at like 15 under or something. But
I think
quietly losing like that hurts more than watching someone that let's say you didn't like Brooks. It hurts more to watch someone quietly lose than to watch someone you don't like quietly win, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Patrick Reed, so everyone can cheer.
I think there's a lot of buzz about that Spieth round. So he shot a bogey-free 61. You almost can't play better than he did, really.
It was 10 under.
When he, especially after the last couple of years, where he has not played well enough to win. That was probably the closest to like the Tiger buzz we've seen in the last decade, really. And
Well, Tiger did win the Masters, but okay. Sorry.
There's a buzz when Tiger plays.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
But that's Tiger Woods. I'm talking about
from another player.
besides the Tiger, but yeah. I still think for him it was lightning in a bottle. I don't think he's got the ability to do it for 4 days in a row anymore.
I hope he finds it. I hope it was a step in the right direction. I really do.
I mean,
I'm with you. I'm like, I have that reserve. I'm kind of reserved about it. Like, are we going to see this more?
Yeah.
Or is it, like you said, lightning in the bottle?
I mean, I like him. I think he's good for golf. Funny, I was thinking like of Under Armour. It's good for Under Armour because when's the last time you saw that many Under Armour logos on a national broadcast? Because he's one of the only players that's really sponsored by them, at least to that extent. But I don't know. He's good for golf. He's one of the good guys in the game, but I don't know. I'm not sure he can do it anymore.
Speaking of good guys, Dustin Johnson won too in Saudi Arabia,
He
correct?
almost killed a guy too.
Oh, was he a volunteer or a spectator?
I don't know, but he rocked
Line
that
drive
guy.
to the back of the head.
Did you see the video that looked like Dustin said he shouldn't have been standing there or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to know what the hell the guy was doing. Like, what was he looking? People are coming off tee. Like, are you?
He's not wrong if he said that. If you're standing in the rough, why are you faced away from the tee box?
Well,
That's just common sense.
you and I went to the PGA Championship that one year, and we were mind blown by the number of people who stand in landing areas
I have no idea.
and just stand there and are not paying attention. Like, I think I'm going to stand here. I'm going to drink 20 beers, hang out with my buddies, and ham it up. And I'm not going to worry about the one that might get hooked left 10 yards into my forehead. It happens all the time. But Koepka almost killed that woman in the Ryder Cup the one year.
Right. Yeah.
She got all messed up. Then she sued the European Tour. And I'm
Right.
like,
that's ridiculous.
flip your ticket
I was
over,
going to say,
woman.
right on the ticket it says that you've waived your rights.
Yeah, it's red.
My-
Back a ticket.
My mom got hit by a golf ball before. We were in Greensboro when we lived down in Virginia, and one hole it drops down you have to walk down in a valley to get back up towards the green. And we were walking up towards the green, and a ball hit. It wasn't in the air, so it hit the ground. It was hard. It was like August and down south, so it was obviously rock hard. It hit and it skipped hard right off her shoulder. But yeah, so she like hit, but we were like down in the gully. So
Signed
like,
glove or anything out of that experience?
I don't think so.
I'm going to say, I feel like some people invite it because they see videos of Phil Mickelson or something signing a glove. So they go, I'm going to stand in a landing zone and try and get pegged. I don't know where the logic is there because I've seen some nasty experiences of people getting hit with golf balls in the head.
Do you remember when Phil hit that guy? I think it was at Pebble Beach.
We gave him money, right?
Gave him
Or
money.
it was watch?
He
or something
knocked.
like
He knocked
that?
the guy's watch off his wrist, and Phil went over and handed him like $500 and $100 bills out of his golf bag. I was like, "Sorry, man."
Yeah.
It's probably $25 watch from Target.
I love the Phoenix Open. I think for me it feels. I know the season started, a little while ago, but to me this feels like the start of the golf season.
Brooks
agree.
referred to it as the People's Open after he won, and I feel like that's a really accurate statement.
Yeah.
You've got like the Masters, and it's the old heads tournament, but this is the young people with a stadium hole, and everybody's rowdy and loud. You've got players encouraging on the 16th green, like Ricky, waving his arms in the air to get louder.
Yeah.
That's the direction golf should be going.
Yeah.
He should focus on his swing and not.
Speaking of directions golf is going, I'm sure you guys saw the news that was announced today, correct?
So before we get to
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Oh, you got something else first?
Yeah.
Okay.
so I wanted to bring up Brooks wins this tournament. He wins by one or two.
One.
Okay.
One.
He eagles 17. I think one of the reasons I love this tournament, like you said, like good golf course, right? It's a fun golf course, especially the back nine. I think what we saw was that short par four all week. There's risk reward there. Most guys, I think, went for it or bailed outright to avoid the water, depending on where the pin was. I think it was proof in the pudding that what Brooks did, there's that opportunity. It's always there, whether it be on Thursday or Sunday, which makes it even better when you're in the middle of the tournament. There's nothing wrong with a short drivable par four on tour.
No, not at all.
And we got so many people who just, they bitch if that hole's a short hole. It's not, this hole isn't long enough.
I don't even think he hit driver. Didn't he hit 3-wood to lay it there?
I don't know,
No, he hit driver.
but
Or was
it's,
it the other hole that he eagled? One of the eagles, I think he hit a 3-wood because I was watching the highlights and they said it was like the caption was when Brooks hits driver and they show like 4 swings. One of them is swinging a 3-wood, and I'm like, who wrote this caption about him hitting a driver and then puts a video with a 3-wood?
I just think it put a little emphasis on growing the game, and it's more fun to watch sometimes when these guys, they have drivable par four and there's some risk reward. People are going to want to see that. Like you and I as fans are watching them, be like, all right, he's coming to 17. Whether it's Brooks or anybody else, military, we're like, if a guy's making a run, is he gonna knock it on here? He can make it 2. He can knock it on and make it 2. Yeah. That adds excitement and grows viewers.
Yes.
Not always watching these guys struggle because they hit driver 4-iron into a par 4 on the 17th hole of a tournament and be like, well, I hope to make par here and stay in it and going into 18.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that hole. I've got no problem with it being a short drivable par 4. I think there does have to be a substantial risk to make it viable on the PGA Tour, which the water there obviously is. Mm-hmm. So it brings in the whole risk reward thing, as you mentioned. It brings in their strategy. Is he going to go for it, or is he going to hit the 4-iron and lay up? And there's so much that can go on there that it is exciting. And I think at that course, man, I don't know how far back you want to go, but I would start at 15. 15 is that par 5 with the huge lake on the left and then the water in front of the green. I think 15 through 18, at least the drive on 18, to me that's one of the best finishing sequences on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of mistakes. I forget when Hahn started. Obviously, Hahn took the lead there, and he messed up 15.
Hahn got the lead and then shit his pants, basically.
And I think it was the hole before, maybe on 14, where he was all over the place, maybe as well. So it might have started on 14 for him, and then 15 because he went 13, the other par 5. He doubled that one and then bogeyed 15. He was 2 or 3 over on those 2 par 5s, and you can't do that there. No. Can't do that.
15 is one of those holes too. It's reachable if you hit a good drive.
Yes. Yeah.
If you don't hit a good drive, you're probably going to have to lay up.
Yeah, and even the layup there is not necessarily easy.
Stricker pumped in the water.
The end of the fairway is the pond.
Yeah.
So you've got to get that number measured down exactly.
Yeah, I think Stricker thought he laid up pretty good. It was Friday. Might have been. Thought he had a good layup. Yeah. Started walking, I think, pounded into the pond. Well, that's one of my favorite tournaments, but we might be there next year, boys. Just might be there. Pack your bags. They're going to get drunk enough. You on an airplane?
I hate airplanes, man.
Listen, we'll go to the Waste Management play golf. Will that get you on an airplane?
I mean, if it was anything like last night, we played 2K21. We played that course, and any one of us would have won on Sunday if we had the lead.
I mean, Russ made an unbelievable par on 18.
He was couldn't
even see the
ball above his head. I don't know where.
Yeah, that was a sawgrass the last round.
Oh,
that's right. I forgot.
Yes, I took a baseball swing at that one.
He fucking took one out of the park from above his head.
I got home and turned my Xbox on about 3 minutes after Russ texted and said, "All right, I'm going to bed."
We didn't get a text saying you were coming.
Yeah, if you would have texted,
I guess it's my bad.
Home point the finger at us.
It was 11 p.m. Don't you guys
this
work?
Is us. Look, no, I don't.
Yeah, but 11 p.m.'s early.
I don't. I just have to get up with the baby at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I need a new headset. That was super annoying.
Russ's headset wasn't working, so he's texting in our group text with the 4 of us. Taylor's out delivering diner dashes,
side hustling.
Hey, where's our Popeyes, dude?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And where's Russ's headset?
Well,
yeah.
Venmo me.
Russ ordered a headset and a Popeye
frozen
sandwich.
Pizza, he said last night.
Yeah, and then he wanted a Popeye sandwich.
Then you sent the picture that you were somewhere down on Elmira, so that's when I changed to Popeyes.
He wanted Popeyes and a headset, and I don't think it ever got delivered.
Then some of my people were dancing too. That was pretty sweet.
That's a 0
seen
star
that in my life.
I'd give him 0 stars.
Yeah, can I review you somehow?
He didn't deliver.
Rate you 0 stars.
You know what's funny is I have an extra headset and a frozen pizza in my freezer. I should have just went home and gotten them.
It would have been better than Russ. He put his headset in. He's like,
buzz.
So I trust me, I heard it too. That's why I was trying to figure it out. I found some old iPhones.
Old iPhones?
iPhone headset with the old style plug. It has the mic. So I figured that would work. I plugged it in and I could hear everything, but the mic doesn't read.
I don't remember the last time I got on my Xbox and did not have an issue with the mic. It's 2021 and you'd think that'd be like a pretty straightforward thing.
Because he doesn't have a Xbox headset right now. It's sucked up in the vacuum.
I was vacuuming.
I told him that's why you don't vacuum.
I was vacuuming the other day and sucked the cord up right into it and ripped it
just
right
give
off.
up the security deposit and you just don't vacuum. And you're free to pour some out for the homies and everything.
Jesus.
Take that at home with you and see if it works. Those headphones. I've used them before in the controller and they work. They're over there.
As have I.
Okay. Anywho,
Yeah. So anyway, as you were saying,
As I was saying, the PGA of America announced today that for their events, so not the PGA Tour, but only PGA sanctioned events. So was it only men's or was it for both men and women?
Men's, women's, and seniors.
Okay,
PGA
so for
Championship.
any U.S. Open, USAM, any of that, they're allowed to use rangefinders now. Obviously with no slope, but
just the PGA, not that. Those are USGA events.
oh, okay, so it's just the PGA
Just the
Championship and the
PGA
ladies
Championship.
PGA and the senior PGA.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Regardless, what are your thoughts on it? I think the intent is something to do with speeding up play, but the caddy's already got yardage books and he's ready to go, isn't he?
Right, but they're not going to have to. They won't spend as much, and obviously it's going to start at Kauai where most people have been already.
Most caddies, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to have to get as many yardages, but they use the rangefinder. Most, I don't know if all do. Most use them during practice runs anyways to get yardages.
Yeah, that's
for
how they
stuff
build
and-
their yardage book to begin with.
Right, so I don't think if it's going to speed it up, it might be like 5-10 minutes. It's going to speed up those times when you're 50 yards left of the green and your caddy's got to walk it out. You know, it's going to save you 2-3 minutes at that point.
It sounds like to me, instead of asking your caddy, what's the front, what's the center, what are my carries on the bunkers, he's going to stand there. I don't want to name any names, but we know who the slow players are going to end up shooting every tree, every edge of every bunker.
There's no fucking trees out there, so you won't be able to do that.
There's no trees.
Kauai doesn't have a ton of trees.
Well,
He's
they're setting this for
speaking-
indefinitely.
speaking in generalities.
Just in generalities.
Yeah,
because
for
this
the
is going
future
to
of
be a
golf.
future of golf. I don't know that it will do that much to speed up play, especially when you watch these guys. Their pre-shot routines, some of them are lengthy, but then some of these guys fall asleep over the golf ball. They're already taking 20 seconds once they've got their number, or 30 seconds. So how's the rangefinder going to do a lot?
I'm guessing, I'm going to just throw a number out, 150 guys, or how many are playing in the PGA Championship. I'm guessing you're only going to see, I'll say 80 guys using it. I think a lot of guys will, because you don't have to use it, so I think you'll see most guys just stick to their normal routine.
I think, I'm assuming this is okay. I think the players are not going to touch them. The caddy will be carrying it. So me as a player, I'm going to ask my caddy, what's the number, like I always do. And he's just going to be getting that number in a different fashion now. Instead of pacing off that sprinkler head, he's just going to stand next to me and laser it. I think I'll preface this by saying I'm okay with this. To me, this is the future this is sports evolving. Let's just accept it. The scenario where it will speed things up is when a guy blocks one off the planet and he's a fairway over, and he's in a spot where the caddy didn't walk off yardages during the practice.
Shouldn't
round.
that be part of his penalty? That he has no idea on the yardage and he has to play some ridiculous shot?
Yeah,
now
but
he knows that he's 240 yards, even though he's parallel to the 150-yard marker, right? But he's 70 yards over.
But the caddy's going to spend that 10 minutes to
Walking
find
it
that.
off.
They're going to walk
And there's
it off.
going to be a
figure it
margin of
out.
error then, right? Doesn't it take any margin of error out at that point?
No, you still got to execute the shot.
Exactly. That was my thought. I was playing devil's advocate, but when I was perusing the comments on all these different links that are sharing it, I see a lot of these people that are clearly not that adept with the game saying, well, if you just gave me all the yardages, of course I'd shoot a good score. And it's like, clearly that's not the truth
Yeah, that doesn't work that
whatsoever.
way.
I think I get what you're saying there, but I think if I'm standing a fairway over, and let's say I'm in contention, and my caddy knows he's going to be coming home with a big paycheck, if we don't have that rangefinder, I'm still relying on him to get me a number within a few yards. And instead of him having to spend 10 minutes pacing it off, he's not going to be able to get it with a rangefinder. That's where the game gets sped up. I think no matter what, either method, you're going to come up with the number in that scenario. So why not allow them to do it in a faster fashion?
And I think Kiowa is going to be interesting, right? It's at sea level. Ball does not fly as far. It's flat because you can't use any slope in the rangefinders. So they're still going to have to figure out elevations, but with Kiowa, you're not going to have as much of that. But they're still going to have to, that says 153. At sea level, it's probably, 162, whatever it is. They're still going to have to do their calculations. It's just going to help it, like Russ said, quicker for those when you're off the planet.
I don't know why I don't like it. I can't put my finger on it, but it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth for some reason.
Then you shouldn't use one when we play.
I'm not a professional.
There's two things that I don't know, maybe all four of us. I know you and I have talked about them when we're out playing. Two things of the future of golf that I think we just got to accept, and I'd like to see. And one of them is the rangefinder. So I'm okay with it.
The other one's shorts.
No, I'll say that's a third one. The other
That's
one,
just a given for us.
We're talking about on tour.
yeah, the tour. That's never made sense to me. Why?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either.
Why do I care if they're in shorts?
They're literally wearing the same. The pants they're wearing are the same as what they wear in pants. Just same color, everything. They're just shorts.
These guys get decked out in new equipment.
It's not like they're wearing jorts.
New shoes, new socks all the time. It's not like It's not like Justin Thomas is going to show up to the course and realize, I forgot my socks. I got to pull these dirty ones out of my. Like he's still going to look professional.
Maybe Tiger Woods is involved, so we don't have to see his little chicken legs. Did you see that picture that they posted of him at the Super Bowl? Looks like the dude's never walked in his life.
How much BDE do you got to have? These people show the Super Bowl like it's the Kentucky Derby, and Tiger shows up in sneakers, gym shorts, and a windbreaker.
He jogged there from home.
Yeah. I was on my way by. I figured I'd swing in.
And then the other thing to me is getting relief from a divot when you're in your fairway.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Those are the two things I've always thought of kind of in the future. The game's going to evolve. And
should be.
To me, the rangefinders are here. If you're in your own fairway and you're in a divot, the ball's got to legitimately be in the divot, not, on the edge. You should get free relief.
My dad almost mentions, I don't know who, someone on Sunday hit one that almost went in a divot late in the round. And my dad's like, oh, divot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how many times on Sunday afternoon when they show like from the blimp or a drone the ball landing, and it's a minefield out there.
Oh
with
yeah,
divots.
well, they all land it within a 10.
Right.
10
By the time you get to
each
Sunday
other.
afternoon, exactly. There's been a few hundred strokes taken from there. Why should the guys in contention get penalized for that?
Yeah, even a sand-filled divot, because every night those maintenance crews are going out with scoopers and filling them in. That sand-filled divot is not anywhere remotely close to a fairway lie. But to answer really quickly, Adam, you said, why don't I stop using a rangefinder? Actually, you've played with me. I just ask you for a yardage about 90% of the time.
Who's the caddy now?
So you're using one.
I don't think this is going to speed up play that much. I don't have a problem with them using it. I really don't. I think where it's going to change pace of play, you're probably close, like maybe 5-10 minutes. It's not going to be.
That's my guess.
It's not going to be. They already used them on like the AJGA and amateur events, and pace of play is brutal.
Are they claiming that's the benefit, the reason behind it?
It's for flow of play, they're saying.
Okay.
I didn't see an official statement as to why, honestly.
I don't either.
That was the only thing I could
That's all I read was flow of play.
But here's my thing. They should have been using the rangefinders the entire time. Monday through Wednesday, they're using, like you said, to build their yardage books. Yardage is common knowledge in the rules of golf.
Exactly. You can ask anyone anytime. It's not something that you can't ask your competitor.
You can look over. If you don't have a yardage book and you don't have a rangefinder, you could look over at Ross in the middle term and be like, what do you have for yardage? He can tell you. It's common knowledge.
To specify, the rule says that you cannot solicit advice from competitors. So you can't say, what club did you hit there, or anything like that. But you can say, hey, where's the 150 sprinkler marker? What yardage did you have? You can ask something even that direct, but you can't obviously ask for advice. And it's not advice if it's common knowledge, like you said.
So I think where it's going to change things is way offline. Mm-hmm. The big example I'm going to use is the Jordan Spieth a few years ago.
I was thinking of that with myself.
At the Open.
Which blows my mind because I saw a caddy today tweet that he was pissed off about it, and he was like, well, it kind of takes away that variable. I'm like, yardage is yardage. You're going to figure it out. Yeah. So you're saying that
he figured out and hit to like 5 feet. So.
Right.
Right.
You're bitching that, and he brought up that scenario. He was like, well, think about how that moment, and in that moment, how much dramatic it was that they had to figure out that yardage. I'm like, no, in the moment, everyone was pissed off. Like, why is he taking so long?
Right. Mm-hmm. That, to me, that's a prime example of the scenario I was explaining. Yeah, it took forever, and that's why people were frustrated, like you just said. But in the end, they still came up with a number. So why, in that scenario, why not allow?
It's a courtesy to the guy who's playing. He was playing with Kuchar and those guys, and even Spieth felt bad, and he went over like, "Hey, I'm sorry." If he's got a rangefinder, he runs to the top of the hill, bangs a couple yardages from the top of the hill, turns around, bangs the bag or Spieth, like we all do when we're playing golf. It's not. I don't think it's going to change pace of play that much. Where it's going to change it is on the tee box, maybe. If you can,
See all your force carries and stuff for the tee box
you
of
can,
the day.
yeah, you can hit your rangefinder on a bunker, whatever it is out there. You can get a laser on. You do that because you'll watch if you're watching not just par threes. From my experience, it is either a sprinkler head somewhere on that tee box, right?
Yep.
Or the big one you see is back of the tee box mow line. So they will check Monday through Wednesday. They'll check because that's like a fixed point. It's easy to always go from there. You know what it is from this point to the front of the green every day starting out. They try to save that time. So it's mow line, and then you pace it off forward instead of going either direction. So they'll check that Monday through Wednesday.
Yeah. It's like courses we play. I always assume the number is to the sign that's posted on the tee box.
Right.
So if the white tees are 10 yards behind the sign,
Here's a hot
add
tip.
10 to that number.
Just assume whatever's on the sign is wrong, if you're wondering.
So where it's going to change is that guy,
That's why I have a rangefinder.
Exactly.
the guy might walk up on the tee instead of walking off 5 to 12 steps. He's going to walk up to the tee marker. He might pull out the rangefinder, hit a couple spots, be like, all right, it's this to carry the bunker. It's this to the 150. He's going to do that math quicker. But they're still, I don't think they use it on every shot. They're still going to go through their yardage books.
I'm guessing we're not going to see a lot on par 4s and par 5s on the tee box. Because Bryce, you said they've kind of measured those out on the tee boxes already throughout the week. So I don't think you're going to see as much of that unless there's a big change in wind. Wind direction is different. Or if that tee box is 20 yards long and instead of walking up,
Right.
we know this tee today is here.
For example, number 4 at our home course.
Correct.
That tee box is 30 yards long, and in the summertime, I can't reach it, but we have people like youngins like Danny that could get it to that pond probably on a hard day. So maybe he'd want to know because that box is 30 yards long, so it depends on where that marker is. I see where you're going, but if the intent was to speed up play, my suggestion is have the shot link guys just yell out the yardage.
I've thought about that too.
It's not like they don't have it. I know your yardage before you get to your ball if I'm watching on PGAtour.com. If it's common knowledge, like you say, they should just go, hey, Brooks, you got 172.
Yeah. Guys want to know, usually, most players, they want to know 3 numbers. It's usually, depending on where the flag is, they want to know usually front flag, and depending on where the flag is, maybe middle or maybe back.
Or if there's a false front or a tier, they want those
Right, and they're
numbers.
going to have those. They're going to have
That's all in the yardage book.
They're going to have the pin sheets. They're going to know how far on it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be really truthful. I've used the yardage book. I used to have one for Corning. And before I even owned a rangefinder, I did all of my yardages from that yardage book. And I felt like it might sound crazy, but it does have a difference.
It puts you into a different zone when you're thinking through your
you
shots.
figure out it puts a different club in your hand. Sometimes you're like, well, okay, well that makes sense. There's actually that much room behind the flag, or I can actually hit this to carry the tier. And
golf is a game of deception, and when you see that from a top view on a yardage book, it takes away. We play a lot of golf at a Donald Ross course, and obviously they're shorter courses. They're really old, so everything is supposed to be a sort of an optical illusion where the green looks like you can hit it in one spot, and if you do, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. Seeing that course from the top view down takes away all those illusions. If you see the tree that you're standing next to, you know exactly where to hit on the green, regardless of what your actual perception of that green is. So I see where you're coming from. It does shape your view of the shot a lot better.
Yes.
And you can't get that with a rangefinder.
And these guys are that good. They're going to use yardage book still. I have no problem using it. I don't think it's going to make a major change. I really don't.
Yeah.
I literally have no problem with them using it. It's not going to cut 40 minutes off a round. We're not going to have 3 hour, 18-hole rounds on tour because they got rangefinders. Guys aren't going to go out and be like, just bang the flag every time they get to their ball.
I was going to say, one last thing. Good players don't go flag hunting. I promise you that.
Yeah.
They might aim at five pins a round, let's say. The other times they're hitting it to spots on a green that it's going to filter to the flag or leave them in a good spot to putt. Only an idiot or someone that can't break 100 goes and aims at every single flag stick. That's why they're called sucker pins. When they tuck them behind a bunker, you got no business hitting it at the pin.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to change anything. They'll use it once in a while. I think the big thing is offline. They might pull it out and be like, "Oh, you got this from here." But
And I think the PGA is going to be hard to even tell if it helps or not because major championship rounds are always longer as it is.
yeah, they're still going to go to their yardage book. They're still going to get force carries, and it's probably honestly, it might be quicker for them because the player's not going to go and be like, "Hey, what do we got to the flag?" It's probably quicker for a caddy to walk up on a tee box and walk right to the back of the tee if it's right there, pace it off to the tee box. He knows what that number is from, say it's 150 yards on a par 3. He walks off 10 yards. He's like, well, it's 140 from the tee box from here. And usually that number, I believe it used to be the number from on the book, the old books, it was to the front. It wasn't to the middle. So from there, you just pull out a pin sheet. So you say, I have this to the front. You add whatever the flag is, and then you take total depth. So now you've got front, flag, and back. So they're still going to use pin sheets in yardage books. It makes more sense for them.
A lot of the times on golf courses, too, you see backups in specific spots, and it's not necessarily relative to a player. Par 3s are always going to be a backup. So is adding a rangefinder going to help when sometimes the backups are just the natural way the course plays? And there's nothing you can do about that. You're not going to give them golf carts to help them maneuver the course faster. And obviously, if you're on the tee box, the group of headies on the green in a par 3, you can't hit the ball until they're gone.
Yeah.
And you're not using a rangefinder putting. You're not going to speed that part of the game up. You're still going to have that I don't even know what you'd want to call it, a bottleneck effect on certain parts of the golf course. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the nature of the game.
There might be some guys might use it. For example, what if they get to 12 at Augusta on Sunday? Usually there's prevailing wind there. We watch guys come up short, dump in the bunker, dump in the pond. They played that enough that they probably know. They probably don't need a force carry. They might say to their caddy, like, what is the flag today? What's the yardage? And then go off the fact of this, their knowledge of playing that golf hole. Well, I've had this number, and I can tell you this right now, that's in a yardage book. Caddies keep that. I wish I still had my yardage book. Someone stole it.
You must have wrote some valuable shit in there.
Dude, I had old pin sheets from the best ball, some of the LPGA in there. But it's in their yardage book on the back of the page, wherever the hole they're on. It'll say, all right, well, on this date, the wind was doing this. This was the yardage. This is what you hit. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's all right there for the most part. So, yeah, they might walk up on like 12 and it got to be like, what do you have just to the flag? Because I know what the play is there, right? The smart play is over the bunker, middle of the green, regardless of what the flag is.
This is off topic, but, well, not really off topic. Don't they have to pay for those books?
Yes.
Each week, right? They have to pay for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's usually like
it's
10 or $20 or something.
Yeah, like $20.
Oh, I thought they were like 200.
No, they put them in a fancy leather case every week to protect them, but it's just a...
No, I know that. I thought they were like 200. I thought...
They come in, they're literally like paper. It used to be, guy doesn't do it anymore. You can look them up online. Guy used to be called Gorgeous George, I believe was his name. He used to do them for the tour.
I thought Faraday had Bradley on right after the Ryder Cup I don't know, one they lost because he hadn't unpacked his bag yet. But he pulled out his box, and I thought he said something. They were like $200 each week. Not that like $200 is anything for those guys, but yeah, I thought he said that. But they do pay for them every week.
They're paperback. They're just a bunch of paper folded and stapled.
Twin Tiers, I got paired up the last day with this guy, and he pulls out a yardage book that I was like, I even asked him, I said, what is that? And he goes, well, for a hobby, I'm into surveying. I said, okay, elaborate. He's like, I open Google Maps before I play any golf course and build my own yardage book. He's got a stack of printer paper with actual satellite view of each hole marked off with the yardages. Guess what?
Pulls out a 3-ring binder.
Still shot like 85, so.
Yeah.
I've bought one for every course I've ever played in Myrtle Beach. The pro shops down there all print out.
They'll have those, yeah.
They've got pretty nice ones. Some of them are bound, and
I have like 5 from the Legends still.
Yeah, they're usually like $3 to $5. The Legends puts them in the cart for free, actually.
So every year, the Gorgeous George Yardage books used to have this acronym in it, JICYFU, just in case you fuck up.
Oh, okay, yep.
And it was like a random yardage on every hole. You'd see it. And there was usually a sprinkler head over there. Sprinkler head's usually marked with a circle and an X. Everything else was an open circle for like 200, 250, that kind of shit.
Would you ever see a sprinkler head that says, like, don't worry, you can't make it? On like a par 5 at 320
Dreamer.
yards. What's that?
Dreamer at Corning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you know how far apart sprinkler heads usually are? You should know this. They're BGN students.
I also worked in the irrigation industry for a bit. I would have had
45.
to assume 70 yards, 50 yards, somewhere in there.
18 yards.
That's it?
Yep.
I guess it makes sense when you watch them pop up in the fairway, yeah.
Yeah, it's 18 yards. I learned that. Thanks, Jay Tursick. Caddy for me at Nationals.
I'm disappointed in you.
I'm used to letting you down.
He said I didn't.
Yeah, it's 18 yards. Now you know that. It'll help you out.
I mean, as if my ball lands on sprinkler heads that often. There's not many in the rough, so.
Yeah. There's probably more than you think, especially with some of these golf courses going to like narrower fairways, and sprinkler head used to be in the fairway.
Now there's a lot.
You see that a lot on tour, actually. They're like, well, they're using a sprinkler head over there because that used to be the fairway.
When I worked in Cape Cod, they actually had done that to one of the. There was 27 holes, and one of the nines, the oldest one, that had been shaped differently to accommodate the new holes. And during the time I was there, they retrenched and re-ran irrigation. Obviously, I was working and wasn't paying attention that much until I'd go out at night, and you hit it down the center of the fairway, and it's in a 3-foot trench, and you're like, well, I guess I'll take my free drop from ground under repair. But that's my extent
It's
of
in a
watching.
divot. You got to play it.
Yeah, it's a big divot. Is that Caddyshack? What are you doing? Or no, Space Jam.
Yeah,
What are you
Space-
doing? Fixing a divot. Oh, he's fixing a divot. Yeah. All right, guys, ready to move on to stars? Got anything else? Nothing?
Nope.
We can move on.
All right, I'll start. My third star of the week is I try to go away from some of the obvious. Go with the Super Bowl. I'm going with Jordan Spieth. I enjoyed watching Jordan play this on Saturday, and even all weekend. Just found myself rooting for him. It's golf's fun when Jordan's playing well. He's good for the game of golf. So Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, Jordan, I'll throw that out there. He was my first star. Like we said, that third round, bogey-free 61, so that was impressive. My third star, David Pasternak, returned to the Bruins after off-season hip surgery. Immediately made an impact. First 3 games, 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points. So, David Pasternak.
I already give 2 and 1 stars. My third star, I have 2. I'm going to split it with Carolina basketball team for their win over Duke, just because it was over Duke. I got to cheer for it. And the other one is Antoine Winfield Jr. giving the peace sign to Tyreek Hill after the interception.
I meant to bring that up earlier. I was 1,000% okay with that.
Right, we talked about the Tyreek Hill one when it happened.
Yeah, this was a response to the previous
to the
matchup when
original
he had
one.
done
Save
the
the
same
receipts.
thing. Yep.
That's right. I mean, yeah, Tyreek Hill gave him the peace sign and the backflip, and I had no issue with it. And obviously, the game was over at that point.
The timing was perfect.
Oh yeah, it couldn't have been any better.
Yeah, he had that one coming.
I loved it.
I'm totally okay with that one. My second star is Gronk. The guy was retired at one point, came back, ran all of his sprints in one day, changed his shirt, got back into game shape, scored 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
How great is it? Him and Kelsey are the same age.
Are they really?
Yeah. Think about that one for a little bit.
I know which one I like more, but I won't say.
Why not? So you're gonna
Yeah, which
offend
one?
him.
It just feels. I just hate saying positive things about Kansas City. I just really dislike the team as a whole, but I like Kelsey more than Gronkowski.
I would rather take Gronk. Personality wise.
I actually thought Gronk was going to, at some point in his career, I'm like, is he going to come to Buffalo and finish his career? Because a lot of guys do that, right? And he's from the Buffalo area. He went to
Williamsville North.
Yeah. Like, I was like, I wonder if he'd ever come back to Buffalo and just finish his career if he wanted to.
So second stars, I had Brady and Gronk, that connection. 14th postseason touchdown. So they connected for 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, totaling 14 in the postseason history and 5 in Super Bowl history, which are both all-time records.
Gronk.
Past Jerry Rice in Montana.
Gronk's got 5 now, right? Super
5
Bowl
what?
titles.
I think so.
That would make sense. 15, 17, 19, 20, 15.
I don't remember when he joined the Patriots.
I think I heard
Maybe 4.
I want to say 4 for some reason.
Maybe. It might be it.
Stat Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was getting ready to
He's
deliver
falling-
my stars.
He's
but
falling
that's okay.
asleep over there.
I'll look it up.
Was that you, right? You just went, or did you go?
I already gave my
Oh,
second
gotcha.
and first star.
So-
Oh, okay.
Earlier.
My second's a combo because I don't really know how to create a hierarchy, but it goes to both Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson because I've always been clearly a Dustin Johnson fan, but when Brooks came out after winning and said he really wasn't sure what his game would be like or if he would really have that great of a game, he said he'd been struggling, but didn't really go into depth in what way he
He
was
said
struggling.
4 straight cuts, didn't he?
What? Yeah, but he also
But
said
he didn't say
he
if
said
it
he
was
was
a
in
mental struggle, did he?
He said he was in a dark place
Yeah.
at times.
So it's great to see people overcome that. Star of the week, 100%.
He's coming off knee surgery, right?
Yeah.
And that he wasn't sure if he was physically ever going to be able to swing the golf club.
But he didn't allude to if it was the physical or mental side that he was really struggling to overcome.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Gronk
has four Super Bowl titles.
So my first star of the week is Dustin Johnson. He won it in the Saudi
At
Invitation.
least say it properly.
Go ahead, I'll let you do it.
Dustin Johnson.
By the way, it would have been the first week you could pick him in the golf pool, but he withdrew this morning.
Well, you saw how the first week of the golf pool went for me to begin with.
How
does Ricky Fowler miss the cut at?
Because have you watched him play lately?
I get it, but that seems to be the one
That's the
tournament.
one
I feel
tournament
like
he
perennially, you know
plays
what,
well,
he's going
though.
to get a top 10 there.
Yeah. We got all season to make it up, pal. Hey, I'm like next to last. You hear me complaining? I also had Fowler.
I know they listen, or he or they. What is Team Sanchez? Is that a human or is that multiple people?
2 people.
It's 2 people.
My buddy's nickname is Sanchez.
Yeah.
So I just gave him that.
And he has an email address at AOL.com.
After we're off, air, I'll tell you what they wanted the name to be, but they didn't want to put it on there.
Was it pretty dirty?
I don't know if dirty is the right word, but
I didn't know if they wanted Dirty Sanchez as the name.
no.
All right, so my first star is Dustin Johnson. He won this week, but crazy stat I saw. This is Dustin Johnson's last 9 tournaments, going back to the PGA Championship. T2 at the PGA Championship, he won the Northern Trust. 2nd the BMW, he won the Tour Championship. 6th the U.S. Open. 2nd at the Houston Open, he won the Masters. His worst finish is Tournament of Champions. He finished T11, and then he won last week. It's his last 9 events. So not bad.
Do you think he was just hammered, and that's why he's like, I can't make it back to California for this week?
I don't understand how he can be allowed to come back with quarantine.
So that's what I was wondering initially, if that was the reason.
Even if he flew a private jet, he was still in another country for at least a week, maybe 2.
But if he was in their bubble,
maybe he was hiding in Dana's
goes
bubble.
to another bubble.
Yeah, but I don't think the
California.
I don't think the bubbles apply when you're going country to country.
I think California is like one of the most restricted
fans.
states right now.
You see what I'm saying? If every player was tested at the prior tournament, he flies privately to another tournament where everyone's tested, he gets tested.
But at this point, it's no longer a tour thing. It's an international travel thing.
I understand that. I'm just trying to be logical.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, I guess.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, if that was the reason.
Before we move on, since we're on Dustin Johnson, can I say one more thing about him?
I was just going to say that I think I wasn't surprised he withdrew. I think the only reason he plays this week is he plays with Paulina's dad, Wayne.
But there's no amateurs.
No amateurs, and he was coming back from over, so he's like, yeah.
And can Wayne get here? I don't know where he is right now.
They're not having AMs.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If they were, like, I don't know if he's in Canada right now, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see Rory's quote about Dustin Johnson? I found it to be just perfect. He says, I think he's got one of the best attitudes towards the game of golf in the history of the game. I don't know if I can compare him to anyone else, but the way he approaches the game is awesome. This is where it gets good because we've all watched the way Dustin Johnson speaks in a press conference. See ball, hit ball, see putt, hole putt, go to the next. Dustin makes it look so simple at times. I find it hard to believe he's got any other option. But let's continue. Go ahead.
No, that was
anything else to say?
No, DJ was my star. Also, to go back to last week, did you guys see that the PGA Tour received an email about Rory's ball?
Yeah.
Said a volunteer stepped on it.
Yep.
The whole retroactive penalty thing should just be squashed.
It wasn't a penalty, though. It was just.
But we have seen that happen. I think with Lexi Thompson or Michelle, we dropped a ball and it rolled a little bit
Thompson
forward
thing
or
was
something.
during a tournament. That was bullshit because, they went back like the next day.
That whole thing should not exist, in my opinion. The viewer at home should have no stake in the ruling.
No, the volunteer emailed the tour and said, I stepped on Rory's golf ball.
Okay, then this one passes my snuff.
Because I think they probably found out what was going on.
Yeah.
So they're probably out there shuffling through the ankle-high grass and. But why wouldn't you just say something?
Yeah, why wouldn't you just say, hey?
Why would you say at the time? Yeah.
But, right, a lot of those volunteers, I think.
They don't know the rules.
They don't know the rules, so
Free
he doesn't
outfit,
know.
baby.
Yeah.
No,
even if you don't know the rules, you'd think if you're volunteering at a PGA event that you would know, oh shit, I stepped on this golf ball.
You think that's
I
something,
should say
right? That's something
to
they should
someone.
say to the volunteers that are out there, like, hey, if you step on it, it's okay. Just tell somebody.
Yeah.
Like that. I feel like that should be something.
But there's probably somebody who's like
Especially-
really worried, like they're going to throw me out of here.
Especially trounce around in the rough.
Hey, Kyle, just so you know, I'm going to take Notre Dame +7 here now. Just so you know.
You probably should.
Did DJ get FedEx Cup points for that win
No.
overseas?
No, that
doesn't
would
count
go into
towards
the
that.
race to Dubai.
or
Is that
whatever.
what it is?
A lot of guys went over, like Finau.
Yeah, Finau
Reed.
was there. Reed was there.
Yeah.
I think they like that tournament. There's a lot of guys normally go over there
They might be able to get appearance fee money.
because this.
I'd rather
Yeah.
be at Phoenix.
Yeah, didn't
but
Phil get like $1 million to play in
Phil
that
was
last
over there.
year?
They get
Yeah.
so you can't take it on the tour, but I think over there you're allowed to accept appearance fee.
Because this is the first time Rory's played in Phoenix. I think he's usually over there playing.
Stats guys told him it was logically better for him to play in Phoenix. That's what he said. His analytics team.
Tell
They
that to the
should.
trophy.
They should find a way to offset those tournaments. I feel like that's. I don't know.
Phoenix would be a blast if like all those guys were there.
I guess I'd be curious. I don't know if obviously Phoenix. This is always the weekend of Phoenix of the Super Bowl. I'd be curious if like the Dubai one, if that's the normal weekend for it, or if it's a different weekend, or if that got moved around. I don't know.
I think they should move Phoenix 1 year and have the U.S. Open there.
Ooh.
That'd be an amazing atmosphere.
Just let them shoot it out.
It just
Imagine a
doesn't seem to fit
major.
the narrative, though.
What's
Still fun though,
you can grow a
Fun.
rough up there.
Fun
Cripplingly
as hell.
difficult.
dude.
There's a damn
hitting on them
desert.
prickly
Dude.
cactuses. Look at
Look at that thing. You want to touch that? I don't
you got a
think
golf ball
so.
we can put in there. No,
Throw a few more rattlesnakes out there in the desert for him.
James Hahn almost got his ass poked out by one of those.
I just think that crazy party, have a good time atmosphere.
No, I wish it would
combined-
happen there. I just don't
Yeah,
see it happen.
combined with a major would be amazing.
Could you imagine 3 guys tied for the lead stand on 16? The drunk guys are just like, yeah.
Yeah, like you imagine. Yeah, that drama with Shalfley, Koepka, that Lee, those guys, and those 4 finishing holes.
Who's to say
James
we can't
Hahn
take that
pumping it.
energy to any U.S. Open? We can just start that energy when we're there.
Yeah, you'd probably get an exit stage left. So you've had too much
They
to
can't
drink.
throw all us out.
Yeah.
and never come back.
Yeah.
Ryder Cup at Phoenix.
Oh,
If Patrick Reed makes the Ryder Cup team, I will not attend. Saying it now.
That's
I
one
like
person I
that.
would love to watch
be
at a
killer.
Ryder Cup, though. I know we always talk down about him. I would love to be in person watching Reed at a Ryder Cup, just because I think he brings that.
Ryder Cup of Phoenix.
Yeah, imagine
Sign
that.
me the fuck up.
Imagine that.
I will quit my job to go.
Did you have a first star? Did you already spit yours?
Speed.
Did you already get rid of yours?
Yeah, Brady.
You got a
Great.
dud?
Well, I was going to say my star of the week isn't even an athlete. But because it's been such a polarizing thing the last few days, I want to make him my star because I thoroughly enjoyed the weekend's performance. And I didn't find out until today, they don't pay you for those appearances. He paid $7 million of his own money for that.
What are we talking about?
The
halftime
halftime
show
performance.
weekend.
Oh.
He paid $7 million for that. It sounded good. He actually sang, which we normally don't see. But here we go into my dud. The dud correlates, goes to his costume designer.
With the jock straps on
What
there?
the hell was that?
I don't know if I want to even go down this road.
yeah,
He's been
that was a terrible performance. I'll say it. Terrible.
he's been teasing this shit on social media for months now. That same outfit with the red and whatnot, that's his choice. He's been wearing that in, like, all his social media posts, and he's had like bandages over his face, making public appearances with like
So they were bandages.
makeup that looked like blood.
He had
and I
fake-
think he's trying to make he made it look like he had plastic surgery, but he didn't. He's making some sort of statement about Hollywood.
It all
Yes,
ties
That's what
together
all
then.
this was. Yeah.
Regardless,
I think they do get
ugly.
I believe they do get paid for that appearance, but with the restrictions, he wasn't happy with
What they would accommodate.
I don't know if they were just going to like give him a stage because, hey, it's COVID, there aren't many fans, blah, blah, blah. So that's why he chose to pay extra for whatever setup.
I listened to about 3 minutes and I was like, I'm gonna go take a shit right now. Terrible.
Aggressive.
I told you it was
performance.
polarizing. You didn't have to agree with me.
I'm not.
I
didn't
gave
like
it a 6 out of 10. I think with the halftime show, everyone's critical of
Would
it.
I
right?
rather watch the Red Hot Chili Peppers pretend to play their unplugged instruments or watch The Weeknd actually sing?
Bring
So
Shakira back.
I will.
Okay, or Janet Jackson.
I thought Timberlake's was one of the best we've seen in the last few years. The big thing with the hat was
That was the one in Minnesota, right? I think that was.
been.
Yeah, I think that was. He wore the wood shit. I think. Yeah.
So I think the big thing with the halftime show of the weekend, I'll give him credit, is he was actually singing,
Yes.
and you can tell that if someone, it almost like his performance will make it stand out moving down the road. That if someone's not singing,
Yeah.
because you can hear the acoustics of it coming through the audio of the stadium on your TV, and it's not clear, it's not crisp. It doesn't sound like it's coming through your radio where they lip sync. It's like, oh, they're clearly not singing right now. So you could just tell, like the acoustics in a stadium, especially an open stadium, you can tell.
I want to point out that you just said that Justin Timberlake and that performance was only a couple years ago. I had a bedtime when that was on.
No.
No, this was in Minnesota.
The Janet Jackson
This is
one?
No.
this
Oh,
is
you're
the-
talking about...
This was the Eagles over the.
See, Ellie said the same
okay.
thing. She's like, you just wanted to see a boob again. I'm like, he just performed like 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
he had that. He had
shows how
that.
eventful that
He
performance
had that
was.
like Woods.
14.
He had
I
that
think it
like,
was 14.
no, it was the Eagles. Eagles over. I
Was
thought
it?
it was Eagles over the Patriots one like 3 years ago.
Let's look it up.
I don't know.
All right. Anybody got anything else?
I don't think so.
I was going to make her star. Let's give Sarah Thomas a shout out. First female to ever referee Super Bowl.
Definitely, yeah.
Cool.
Now that you don't have it done.
3 years ago.
Now that I don't have a dud, now that you superseded
No,
it.
I can't remember. I found one that I was like, now Taylor will come prepared. Now I can't remember who it was.
Can't rely on a guy who doesn't water a cactus. All right, gentlemen. Until next week.